Everybody, and welcome to Ukraine Update here on the Shills. And we're looking at the smallest chance that we might see Starsky. He's doing these internet provider switch right now. I bet a lot of you already know this because of his community post and whatnot. So we've got some news and stuff we wanted to share regardless, and we're gonna, we'll do it like an hour here, and maybe he'll show up, but I highly doubt it. We got Dunk with us, taking care of all the viewer funding and cool shout-outs and stuff. Hey, Dunk.
Hello.
We got
Send me super chats now.
We've got Dave doing viewer questions and interactions and stuff. Hey, dude.
Hello.
Step into the light so we can see you. Backstage joke. And we got Commander McMillan here to help us make sense of what we're going to read and go over and stuff. Hey, man.
Howdy.
All right. So has anybody got anything they want to get to first and right away and whatnot? I know right away, Starsky's doing a thing here coming up where it's going to be very much debunking misinformation and with this whole institute and whatnot. So I wanted to get right into a thing where I've got my news in two different places here. So let me get this all. CF Beauty and the team hooked us up. We know what we're talking about today. It's a miracle, but it's true. Military intelligence reports. This is of Kyiv Independent. This is from them. Putin is drastically exaggerating the active troops on the ground in Ukraine right now. The proper estimate is around 450,000, and they're cooing about having well over 600,000. That's a decent difference, isn't it, Commander, as it pertains to...
What's 50% increase among friends? Come on.
Well, they probably would have that number if most of their men didn't keep falling over.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, they may mean total mobilized strength across the country as opposed to the number of people directly committed to the fighting in Ukraine. I don't think so, but you got to compare both sides of the equation just to be fair.
Yeah. That could be if you want to, look at it in, I'm going to give you all the reason I can to have a benefit on that. Right.
Sure.
Yeah. And, let's see here. I want to get to it coming up as well, but this whole called election, You know what? We'll skip to it right now, just because I'm sure I can figure this out in the background. Let me hide that so you don't see me searching for things and whatnot. Where is it here? Sorry, everybody. 1 second. Yeah. Putin is set to run as an independent candidate for his new presidential term. What the hell does that matter for what? Nothing over there. Does anybody think that there's going to be an actual fair election where if a vote comes in against them, you won't be shot on sight?
Well, no, the thing is, that's going to be his second choice. You can vote for Putin, or you can vote for Putin the independent. It's a proper democracy,
Yeah. Yeah. Vote for me or vote for the pistol.
So I'll throw the conspiracy theory into that mix. There's been a lot of speculation that all the stuff we're seeing about Putin lately is all, body doubles and stage stuff, and that allegedly, I don't buy this, but I'm going to tell you what some whack jobs are saying, is that Putin is actually no longer in power. They're using these stage hands to make it look like he's still in power, and that when the election is run, some other person from the oligarchy will magically be elected so that they can shift Putin into the background as he retires and quietly moves off to his dacha. Yes, exactly.
That's a steaming pile of horseshit that would take serious machinery to move around.
That's an insulting thing to say about horseshit. Come on.
Yeah. So, here, we should do a poll. I don't even know if I remember how to do polls and stuff. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, it looks like I can. Does anybody think Russia can have a fair election?
Define fair.
Oh, I think I even put a typo in it. Who cares? There you go. We'll let everybody play with the poll there. Yes, I screwed it up. Don't tell me 1,000 times. I already know.
That's not how you spell erection.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've got my keyboard all gummed up with crumbs and whatnot, and I'm getting double hits and mishits, and everything I type makes me look even more illiterate than I already am right now. So I can't even fight it. Let's see. Let's see. There's really good news where 3 Ukrainian children were returned from Russia. Now I know it. In comparison to how many the reports are that are missing from their homes, at least we're getting a report that some have come home.
Why?
Remember, this is from the country. Yeah, remember, this is the country that invented the term Potemkin village. So
yeah. They were brought from Kherson and are now with their mother. And another boy in 2011 was taken by his father to Russia against his will, but is being reunited with his mother, who's now in Georgia. So it doesn't say when they were taken. Well, I'm looking at some notes here. Let me just scroll through. A boy born in 2008 and another girl born in 2011. I'm not even 100% that this is all based on, war captures or, I didn't have time to go over a lot of these before we, started bringing it to you. Yeah. Look at the poll numbers already. That's very telling. Very telling. Everybody knows. Okay. I already got to the end.
Speaking of free elections.
How's Trump doing?
Well, no, I was saying your poll is a free election.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's see here. Report here. Where am I looking at here? Kyiv Independent News Desk. 343,000 plus troops Russia has lost in Ukraine.
I-
You can't really imagine that many people. Just you can't
Yeah.
see. Like it's more than a sports stadium. It's like,
I think you first need to clarify that number is probably casualties, not fatalities. Because most of the numbers I've seen coming out from various groups that say casualties, fatalities, are putting in the vicinity of somewhere between 150 to 175,000.
Okay. I'm just looking at it here. So this report goes on to Russia's lost about 5,700 tanks, 10,600 armed fighting vehicles, 11,000 vehicles and fuel tanks, 8,000 artillery systems, and so on. Any thoughts on those numbers?
If you look at them in comparison to what they started the war with, they've lost probably 50% more than they started the campaign in Ukraine with.
Right.
So in order to keep feeding the giant machine, they've had to keep taking stuff out of deep storage and funneling it into the front. And that's why we're seeing increasing numbers of older Cold War, not even in some cases late Cold War, but early to mid Cold War equipment being brought to the front.
Yeah.
And conversely, you see a lot of the stuff that the Ukrainians are now acquiring is current day technology, modern stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, very much. Let's see here. We should probably check and see if we've got any responses and stuff from the viewers already. See what Dave's got lined up in his box of tricks. Because, we've already touched on a few things that I'm sure spurred some response.
well, there isn't too much that has been put into the questions bit in our background, whatever. But that's absolutely fine. I've got lots of lovely messages instead. One from Nancy. Hello, Dick, Dave, Dunk, and Commander Macmillan. Too many casualties. Meat grinder mentality. I do agree, definitely.
Very much so.
The poll so far has somehow garnered 10% yes.
Wow.
I think I didn't realize 10% of, maybe 10 people have taken part and one of them was Putin. I don't know. He might be watching.
Putler, get your sock accounts out of here.
Well, it's one of 10 Putlers.
Yeah.
Or maybe all 10 of them did it. And Paul McCartney.
Yeah. Which one?
Yeah. The one that wasn't wearing shoes.
Ooh, controversial.
Or socks or whatever the hell it was. Yeah.
Well, Michael seems to think 1 million injured at least. Macmillan, do you have anything to say on that? You look confused.
No, I have heard that number said in some circles, but most of the sources that I have faith in are saying somewhere in the vicinity of 350, 400,000 casualties, and somewhere between 150 to 175, possibly pushing as high as 200,000 fatalities. I'm not saying those are right, and I'm not saying that the 1 million number is wrong. I'm just saying, based on my trust in the sources I consult, I'm more leaning towards the 500 and 150, 175 side of the equation.
Oh,
interesting.
But that's still a huge number. Let's make sure we understand that.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's basically the entire force they invaded with is dead. Not casualties.
Yeah.
Those are the dead.
Yeah. So you've had to replace the entire force that initially started it all for you. That's right. And when then
twice that and wounded that you're having to, take care of at home.
Yeah. we got a super chat in that's really spurred some discussion there. Dunk, you want to grab that one?
Yeah, sure. We have Idolate sent in $2. Says, did you know the Warthog defense channel was deleted? I didn't know Warthogs had defenses, but never mind. Raven Seven sends in $4.99. Will we still be here next year and beyond? F fatigue, F Putin. Yes. What do you mean, will we still be here next year and beyond? Well, we'll be here. Are you talking about the end of the world, of civilization as we know it, or just this channel?
I think what he's referring to is the war
Talking
going
about
to
the
still
war.
be going.
Yeah.
And I would say yes.
Yeah.
You may recall early on in the conflict, Starsky was voicing the opinion that the war wouldn't end until 2024. And the last time he and I spoke, he's kind of leaning into the 2025 side of the equation. This is not going to come to any easy conclusion.
Well, even when the war's over, there's still going to be years of reparations and stuff going on yet. It's not going to be over yet.
I want to ask everybody in the live chat there if they want to, at the Shills, and we'll get the responses curated for us here and whatnot. But what's the deal with Warthog Defense? What happened? Has he or has anybody communicated on social media to say why YouTube took it down or anything? Interesting to know for sure.
I don't follow his channel that much. I do occasionally. The impression I got, and this is from comments others have made, I don't know for sure, but it's that he was posting stuff that violated their terms in terms of,
that's
people being killed and such.
That's a hard one to win once they've pulled that on you. That's almost like somebody in that situation is going to need the help and push of major YouTubers pushing Team YouTube on X and other platforms to say, hold on a minute here. But even still, if he was showing stuff that's a bit too graphic and gratuitous and whatnot, there might be no defense. It's one of the reasons why we never usually bring up like videos to show of the action and stuff and what's going on over there, because I mean, if it shuts us down, we can't tell you anymore. I'm not sure that's worth watching a nasty video. So I wish him all the best though. That's for sure. They have a new channel. It's just up today. Same name. Okay. So at least there's, everybody go and check them out. Check out Warthog Defense. You'll find them a brand new growing channel again.
I see something that Crazy Cat just posted, which he said he was being mass reported by Russian trolls. That I can certainly believe.
Yeah. And there was a time when even Linus Tech Tips ended up with his channel hacked and taken over on YouTube. And because the way YouTube does things and whatnot, it was all recoverable. It's not as unbelievably destructive as you might think. If there is a mass reporting and they do catch on late, there's a chance it could come back. So you never know. Yeah. All the best, though, I hope, because a fight like that really sucks. Really sucks. Especially when, you're doing good, you're getting the word out and everything, and all of a sudden you're just slammed shut. That's a crushing moment.
You notice that the Russian trolls don't bother this channel. I think all those back payments you're sending off to the Kremlin are really helping out.
Shut, Jesus Christ.
You weren't supposed to use your inside voice for that,
Oh, okay. I'm going to change your name to Mr. Inappropriate. All right.
Captain, please.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Actually, at this point, it would be more like Admiral, maybe. So here, I wanted to switch over to another one. We've got a few more of these. This guy, Kirill? I mean, if the guy's got a name that Dolph Lundgren should have had in one of his old action movies, you know?
Yes.
Come on.
I'm sorry. He is out hatting Commander Macmillan at this point.
Yeah. yeah, that's true. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a hat war. But so he's on the kill list, and so that's good. Wouldn't it be really great to parade that overdressed sorry ass sack of shit down the street? Yep, we caught him. That would be a moment, man. Look at that.
That's standard Eastern Orthodox ceremonial garb.
Oh, and even Celine Dion's sitting there looking at this picture right now, going, "Dude, you overdid it." You know?
Yes. So the thing I was going to say that I think most of your viewers probably only know, but it worth repeating here, is that the KGB, and even prior to then the NKVD, which is the old Soviet era security services, never completely stamped out the Russian Orthodox Church.
Right.
They kept it around, but the people who were appointed to the clergy were all NKVD or KGB agents. When the USSR imploded and the new federal government system took over, the FSB took over doing that, and most, again, of the clergy are all actual employees of state security. So, well, yeah, I mean, you know, religion is a social control mechanism. And, you know, if you have some old guy up there telling, you know, the impressionable folks, oh, God hates everybody who isn't Russian, they're all going to fall for it. It's a way to keep the loyalty and the motivation going. And that's what he's doing.
Yeah. You want to come and confess your sins, my child? Tag his car. You know? Oh, wow. Yeah. But I mean, if you go on to check this article out, it goes exactly where Commander Macmillan goes. According to Soviet archives, the bishop was a KGB agent and spied on Switzerland in the 70s and whatnot. Yeah. Oh, it's hilarious. Here, let me bring this up on the screen. So, yeah, exactly. Here, look. Yeah. But right there, third little paragraphy there, you know, I don't know if I can call that a paragraph, but, you know, this is 2023. I guess that's a paragraph for the attention span of the average adult now. You know, but yeah, you know, so
I couldn't be asked to read that.
Yeah. Well, it's so dark where you are. You probably couldn't see it anyway. Let me see where we should go here. Well, since I'm talking to Dave, anything you want to grab at and get a hold of over there?
Yeah, there's a few interesting bits. Madeleine Suzette, hello to you, asks, where's Starsky? Although they ask it with 3 question marks, so it could be, where's Starsky?
Yeah, Starsky's doing his internet change right now, different internet service provider. So, you know, we figured there was a chance maybe he could show up on his phone or something, but I'm pretty sure that knowing he was going to be without internet, he's probably just made himself busy doing other things.
Is he moving from Starlink to Pigeon Linked?
Yeah. They're stringing. They got string going all over the place right now, and everybody's getting their paper cup. You know. But no, I'm
little teenager children are just going around with scissors, just like trying to cut them all up. It's like no.
Yeah. But yeah, we're hoping he gets a good connection and whatnot, because you know it really helps with live streaming, and he's got a message to get out. So very much so, very much.
Damn straight.
Yeah. What are we looking at here? Okay, we're coming up on half an hour. I'm just watching the time as well. My whole life changed in the last like 4 hours before the stream, and so I've got to kick myself into gear after, and yada yada. Life happens. Let me switch over to another one we've got here. Oh yeah. So is anybody surprised by this? Hungary, because of freaking who, is now blocking 50 billion. I mean, unless that was pesos, it matters, right? And it happens to be euros of EU funding for Ukraine right now. So, I mean, seriously, if you're like a person who does bad things and has you make custom bullets for a gun that has a really long barrel with a nice scope and stuff, if you're not hired right now and you really have nothing to do but watch television, you must be able to figure out where you could get a look at this guy through that lovely scope of yours. Come on, we'll crowdfund the lead. No, this guy's gotta go, man.
Do you think that that may have been something that influenced Warthog's banning? Advocating assassination?
Yeah, but I did it softer. Don't say it afterwards. Now the algorithm's going to catch me.
Damn. Pull it again.
Yeah.
But is that how it works in the EU? I mean, not that we're in the EU anymore in the UK, but that one country can block every other country's donations and contributions.
The way I understand,
so.
Yeah, I was going to say, the way I understand it is if it's coming from the EU, then it can be blocked by any one member saying no.
Wow.
But people have said, if you want to circumvent it, then what happens is the individual countries can make that donation on their own, and that can't be blocked.
And the article does go on to state that some countries are now saying, well, we'll just have to do it individually, Yeah, absolutely.
Can we kick Hungary out the EU?
Well, I mean, I would. There's a lot of cool people and cool things in Hungary. It just sucks that this guy is making them all look like schmucks. Right? It's not fair to the country because there's a lot of people that do not agree with this. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Have you ever seen a mouth that Putin has invaded before in a very, very vile way? Come on. Oh yeah. So he's another one of these guys where the rest of the world's just got to step up a little bit harder and say, hey, screw you, man. Absolutely. Get rid of this guy. But I feel sorry for anybody who's cool and proper in Hungary right now. It must be horrible.
Yeah. The thing that gets me is I have some sympathy, not for him, but for the Hungarian people who are unhappy with the way things are going, in terms of all the money that's getting shifted away from their own needs to support Ukraine. The burden of support for Ukraine, honestly, is falling more on the Eastern member countries, Poland, Hungary, the Baltic states, etc., because it's not just donations for military operations, it's also doing something to support all the refugees who left Ukraine and are remaining in those border states until the war ends and it's safe to go home. That's putting an enormous strain on social services in those nations.
Yeah, there's it's dangerous if you only deal in headlines and not the depth sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think one of the ways that if you were a cagey EU politician, to address that is to kind of try to come up with some sort of support mechanism from the EU going to those countries that are supporting the bulk of those refugees to try to alleviate that burden. But I haven't seen any real moves going in that direction yet.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. I should address the poll here because we're getting on the point where we've got enough votes. The idea that somebody in charge in a country manner like this idiot standing by and playing political BS and posturing when people are laying their lives on the line in a fight as if it means nothing to him because they're chess pieces on a board and so on. These are not the people you want in federal office. Vote with your conscience. Let your morality drive you towards things, and we can stop people like this from happening, right? I'm talking to the hard right Republicans here too. Come on. We
have a lot of those in your audience, don't you?
yeah, exactly. There's probably one hiding in the background somewhere, just furious at me right now.
Bob.
Now there's this report out here. Let me bring this photo up. I don't know if you guys will figure out where I'm going with this or not just by the photo, but there's some reports out that Zelensky and his commander-in-chief are not seeing eye to eye. Now, for me, these reports have come out just as they've had their biggest internet and cellular carrier get hacked and stuff. And I'm not sure. I haven't had a real time to look into it or not, but this is being reported from the Kyiv Independent. And
this isn't the first time these claims have been made.
Yeah.
I think the best way to put it is they're responding to different things. So Zelensky is looking at, the political, both international and domestic political side of trying to keep everything going smoothly with Ukraine. Mm-hmm. Zaluzhny, who's the chief of the general staff, that isn't his problem. His problem is winning militarily. And so the two of them need to talk and may not agree entirely on what it is they think is best for the country, but they do seem to have a reasonably good working relationship of sorting those differences of opinion out and trying to say, selling newspapers or advertising for online or what have you, when all you're saying is everything's hunky-dory, doesn't work. So what you do is you create fictitious conflict to generate viewership.
Yeah, think WWE, right? but it is a good point because a story like that will bring a lot of clicks over. It keeps people engaged and whatnot, and it's not essentially dangerous in and of itself if you actually read past the headline. Right. I fully think you hit the nail on the head with it, because as I just glanced through here and whatnot, it is very much based on, well, we don't agree on everything, but we do agree that we have to win. Right.
As Mr. Nobody says, it's over exaggerated.
Yeah,
it is.
Exactly.
There are differences of opinion. I'm sure they argue, but they both are working towards the same goal, but they're working at it from different directions.
Exactly.
So I think of it as a healthy relationship as opposed to a conflicting one.
Yeah. Shayna Caldwell in the chat has sent us an exclusive image that National Geographic themselves have caught of Orban in the wild. So, that's who you guys put into, that's the man himself right there. Good catch, Shayna. Good catch. We bring you the news here first, fellow babies. Don't you forget it. We always have the exclusives. Oh, I love it. Okay. So here's the other side to him blocking the funding through the EU and whatnot. We've already got people coming out to say they're confident that they can fund Ukraine even without him.
Yeah. And I think one of the key things, I don't have the graphic. I wish I did so I could share it with you. But it shows by national breakdown in kind of not a pie chart, but a bar graph, who has contributed what amount to Ukraine. And roughly half of it is from the US, and then maybe a fifth to a sixth is from Germany, and everybody else taken together, if you stack them on top of Germany, equal the US.
Okay.
So getting small countries like, say, Hungary, who say, well, I'm not going to give them any more money, it's not going to have a huge impact. It's mainly a PR effect in the EU about how he's trying to hold things up. But the countries that want to support Ukraine are going to be able to continue to support Ukraine.
Right.
And again, that difference in volume, since half of it roughly is from the US, that I think is where we realistically should be focusing our concern and effort, because a certain party and a certain presidential candidate have made very clear that if they come to power, there will be no further aid whatsoever to Ukraine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play partisan politics and try to recommend one side or the other. But enough said. Enough said.
Yeah, exactly. So, we always tell you, everybody around here, to keep pushing at your local, regional, and national governments to make sure that support is provided. Because, in the end, these people in charge, for lack of a more disgusting word, they need to be told what the public actually wants. Otherwise, they start thinking for themselves. And when that happens, they always screw it up. So make sure that you are telling them how you feel about Ukraine being supported properly by your government.
And not just once.
That's right. It's a continued, constant flow that needs to happen. Let's turn it over to Dunk here, because we've got a member shout out to do here, or a super chat or some shit.
Yeah, sure. We got $5 sent in from Sickness Sky. Says, have you guys ever checked out Restream for streaming? It's from Kiev. Well, I've looked at it because you asked if we used it. I didn't know what it was, so I've looked it up. No, we haven't checked it out, but we don't actually have many others like social media platforms to send Restream to. So,
Restream is more than it used to be. It used to just be a place you would send your video to, and it would spit it out to multiple places for you and pull the chat all together into one place. But now, as I understand it, it's a lot like StreamYards and stuff, where you can just simply log in and run a show from there. Yeah. So I'm not sure the name of the product is the best anymore because of it, but they are a group of coders out of Ukraine who are fantastic, and it is great software. We do everything in-house with OBS, so it's not really our thing, but for a lot of people, especially if you're like newer and up and coming and whatnot in the scene, it's going to get you there a lot quicker than screwing around trying to learn some obscure crap software and stuff. Trust me. Oh, yeah. It's a good shout. And Secular Sakai has a YouTube channel as well, Tridents Against Tyrants. Go check it out. He's doing some fundraising and whatnot, and it's good stuff. Make sure you check him out. Here. Okay, so funding again. The Senate eyes a vote on Ukraine aid and border security as House adjourns. So, I mean, Commander, you're, our resident American today. Why do they lump it in with Ukraine aid and border security? Why are they tied together? Or are they different votes? It's just not being said clearly enough.
It's being tied because that's the way you work deals these days.
So, if you want me to vote on this, you add this, and then I'll vote yes because I get my thing. So it's all political BS.
Yeah, it used to be you could keep them separate and you promise the other side, yeah, I'll vote for your thing if you vote for my thing. The level of distrust in Congress is so massive right now. Nobody will do that. You have to tie things together in one bill to guarantee that nobody's going to backstab you.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, it says here negotiators are reportedly hoping to reach a deal on the package as early as Sunday, but it'll likely take more time to draft text of a bill. That text will then be closely scrutinized by lawmakers of both parties as well as immigrant rights groups.
Yep.
Oh, because of the wall. Right. Okay, yeah. So, I hope that tacking on the wall doesn't screw this up for Ukraine because of, putting the wall in. Doesn't that put some hardcore Democrats in a position where they don't want the wall? And as such, now it's confused the vote because it's on two different separate things?
Yep. That's done deliberately.
Oh, man. See, that's not how...
If you can't stall it by an outright vote, what you do is you pair it with something that nobody can agree on, which forces a stalemate and the government shutdown, which is the way that brinksmanship that the Republicans are playing with right now. It's like, oh, we're going to shut the government down and nobody will get their Social Security checks or anything. Screw the country. We want what we want. We're going to hold our breath until our faces turn blue.
Wow.
That's the strategy now.
Wow. That's just so unhelpful for everybody except the ones who are on Capitol Hill looking to extend their stay there versus, it's all about their own skins. It has nothing to do what's good for what's the actual the right thing to do for the majority. Right? Yep. That's not the focus anymore. It's sad, but it's gone. A couple people asking where Starsky is. Well, Starsky's doing his switch from one internet service provider to another. So the odds of him showing up were like minuscule, but there was things to talk about and issues to bring up. Commander was free, so instead of just my BS and whatnot, we had somebody who actually knows what the hell they're talking about. We figured we might as well.
As you can see, Commander's all dressed up because he's just come off his My OnlyFans stream. So.
You won't believe what Santa can do for $20.
That's right.
And how far?
Yeah. Well, too bad we don't have the picture of the bomb that was removed. Oh my God. We had a news article yesterday on our 42 show of a guy who went into the hospital, and he had a live ammunition shell that was about this big stuck up his butt.
From World War I.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd been up there the whole time.
Well,
since World War One.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, can you imagine?
No, it would be uncomfortable.
Yeah, hit it harder, it'll fit. Are you sure?
That's not a breech loading asshole.
We got a cool super chat in there, Dunk, while you're here.
Oh, you want to change the subject. All right, White Lightning 777 sends in $5. Congressional districts are calculated using total population. This leads to illegitimate Democrat districts. That's why illegals must go.
Congressional districts are calculated using total population. This leads to extra illegitimate Democratic districts. Huh. I'd have to look that up more. I'm not going to say you're wrong because I'm, you can see the flag behind me. What the hell do I know, right? I do know that it's voting isn't as clear as you would think when you're a kid. Oh, okay, you vote for who you want to win. Whoever gets the most votes wins. Because it's all regioned up. And then all of a sudden, all those votes only count for one towards or whatever. I do find that very strange. But, I'm not a political person, as you can tell. I don't think I even own a tie. Let's check in with Dave to see what viewers have been saying a little bit. We're coming up on 45 minutes. We don't want to be more than about an hour. So we'll get the viewers in for a bit and then get to some wrap-ups and stuff. Oops. Wrap-ups and stuff. There, see?
Wrap-ups. All good. There is a fair bit of election talk looking towards the future, particularly in Europe. There's mentions of a new pro-Ukraine Polish Prime Minister from Mark Garcia. There's also a question. I'm going to tie them all together. So there's a new Dutch. Where was that? Yeah, new Dutch PM, extreme right, Wilders, man who idolizes Putin. That came from Martino. And I threw in there the inevitable UK election that will be probably early 2024 as well. But whether that changes anything, it's Rishi versus Starmer, and they're both very much on the same page when it comes to Ukraine. I believe Dunk, but I'm not too sure.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be like this extreme polarized difference between them, but yeah, it's interesting. What do we think of the changing map as we go forwards, and how much that is going to play a part in the Ukraine situation?
Or
does it not matter? Does it only matter if it's Germany and Italy and France, the main players within the EU? And the US, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not a... That's something that would need a little bit more looking into, but so I don't...
why are you asking us?
Put a poll up.
Yeah. Well, I'm trapped. The poll thing isn't working for me on this side. I can't seem to end it or start a new one or anything. All the options are gone. Yeah, I don't know what happened. And if I reset it, something might screw up. So I've just left it. Anybody who's logged in on the Shills account, see if you can end the poll and we'll put up something else. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know.
Lost control.
Yeah. I do want to bring up one more before we go back to the viewers for a few, because this is from The Hill, a online news source here, but the world's first drone war is happening in Ukraine. Now, Commander, we've talked about this a few times, but this invasion, this conflict, this battle for freedom has changed the game, hasn't it?
Yeah. The drones, I've been thinking about this since it started, watching how use of drones has escalated the whole time, and not just the numbers, but also the applications they're being used for. And in a lot of ways, it's reminiscent of World War I and the start of the use of air power in warfare. Where you start where it's just a tiny bit, I think the Germans at the start of the war in 1914 only had like 8 planes in their entire air force, if you will. And they were just, little reconnaissance planes. And 2 years into the war, you've got bombers, fighters, and all this other stuff. And by the end, you've got strategic bombing campaigns going. That's kind of what we're seeing developing here, is that pressure of warfare is accelerating the technology and the doctrinal applications for drones in warfare. And I think when you come out of this, everybody's going to be sitting there looking at everybody in terms of militaries across the globe are going to be analyzing the hell out of this war of what is the best way to use this? How many do we need? What kinds do we need? How do we best employ them? All of that. It's going to become a major, major part of warfare going forward.
Well, we're going to see a major shift when you start seeing building drones to attack other drones. And so drones are fighting each other. So one drone can get through. It's just going to get crazy out there.
Skynet's going to take over.
I was just going to say, you get these things more and more AI driven, and all of a sudden it just becomes a matter of coding and acquisition or manufacture, right?
Absolutely.
Good super chat there, Dunk. See that one? Oh, we got a donation in the other room as well.
Yes, we got a direct donation in from Alan McMillan, has sent you 16.23 Canadian dollars. That's not you, Commander, is it? Or is that a different McMillan? I was going to say, what are you doing?
It's a large clan.
You don't have to pay to be here, but it helps. And we also he didn't actually send a message with that, Alan. So I'm assuming it was for the Boom Boom Fund or something, or maybe Dick's Christmas Fund, or maybe our Kremlin Fund. I don't know. Stephen Walsh, the Lord Stephen Walsh is here. We haven't seen you for a while, Mr. Buddy. Sends in $20. Says, great to see national lies and Intimidating voting workers carry a pretty hefty price tag. Maybe Rudy will ask the orcs to help pay the fine. That's quite a lot of orcs he'll need to pay that one off.
That's funny. A message to you, Rudy. Oh, love it.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Adam McMillan.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. And also thank you to White Lightning, Secular Sakai, Raven 7, and Idle 8. Idolate. Damn it, you did it.
Now I screwed it up.
Yeah. Yeah. But let's see here. So yeah, we'll go over to Dave for a couple things from the viewers before we're done and dusted and throw it in the bag.
Sure. There are a few little comments I can combine together again on US politics. I don't know if McMillan has any expertise that he wants to throw at us. Janice asks about Orban not being here not long ago, meeting with some Republicans. Does anyone know for sure why and whom he met?
Why wasn't he shot?
1 out of 10 US House of Representatives being recalled to vote on Ukraine aid before January. That's from David Elston, member for 2 months, both members for 2 months. And then there was another little comment from You're Taking My Life, member for 2 months. I hope not. Asking if the border and immigration is such a national security problem, then why is it okay for Congress to take a 3-week vacation?
Ooh.
Any thoughts?
I'll start with the last one first. The 3-week vacation. You got to remember that the representatives and senators need to go back to their congressional districts and talk to their constituencies. And that's what these vacations really become. I'm fairly tied in with one of the local reps we have in my district, and that's exactly what happens. When he comes home, he almost spends no time at all with his family. He's going from one, town hall meeting to another, talking with various interest groups, local ones, and that kind of stuff. So it's a working luncheon where it's working and less about lunch.
Is that more to do with fundraising as well? How does that tie in?
That's a significant part, because particularly for the House of Representatives, remember, those guys have to run every 2 years.
Oh.
So almost as soon as you get elected, you immediately have to start your re-election campaign. There's no time for you to sit back and, do other things. You have to be doing that because the election cycle for the House is so rapid.
Wow.
Senators have a little more leeway because their election cycle is every 6 years. So that's why you tend to see a little more stability in the Senate than you do in the House.
Interesting. And thoughts on it being voted on before January at all?
I think that the Republicans want to try to delay things as long as they can because they're playing that brinksmanship game that I referenced earlier. And whenever they can threaten to put the country, into the, nope, the government shut down, we're going to go into default, you're all going to die, and it's the Democrats' fault, which it isn't, then it plays well to their constituencies. And many of the MAGA group were sent to DC specifically to frustrate and stall any legislation getting done. Not just Democratic legislation, but Republican legislation too.
Wow.
They're trying to break the country. That's
ridiculous.
If you remember what their objective here is, they want to install the God King, the orange-tinted God King on the throne. And so doing everything they can to break the system plays to their their side.
Yeah.
Again, I want to use a conversation I had with the representative I was talking about earlier. When he first showed up to Congress, which is when the MAGA movement had just started, he had a piece of legislation he wanted to introduce that would really benefit the people in our district. So he went out and looked specifically for a Republican who would help co-sponsor the bill. And he found a guy whose district had a lot in common with our district, where they could cooperate with one another. It would be hugely beneficial to both of them. And he took him to lunch and he explained this to the Republican guy, who was also a new freshman representative. And he listened and he said, I think this is a brilliant piece of legislation. You're right. It will hugely benefit the people in my district. I'd love to sponsor it. But if I want to have any chance of getting reelected, I cannot be seen as working with a Democrat.
Oh, God.
That is a death knell for any Republican today. You cannot be seen as cooperating.
And that's a guaranteed way to ensure that no matter who gets elected, everything is a clusterfuck and goes nowhere.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I say I do like the Canadian system, where it's more than two parties, because there's always a third person to get in the way when the other two start doing this too much, and then they actually win and whatnot. It does help balance things out. But I didn't want this to become some, crazy back and forth thing and whatnot about, American, Canadian, and other people's politics. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. We're just coming up on the hour here now, so we should do a little wrap up around the table, see what everybody thinks and whatnot. So since you're already on the mic there, Commander McMillan, what do you think?
I think as we're entering the, midwinter pause at the front in Ukraine, I don't expect to see a lot of movement. The big issue is going to be what people are preparing and setting up for next year, when the ground dries out and offensive operations start.
Right.
The Russians are still engaged in offensive operations around Avdiivka, Bakhmut. The Ukrainians are still kind of pushing on that salient south of Zaporizhia, but it's all low-grade stuff. Although to say low-grade about the Russian offensive efforts at Avdiivka and Bakhmut is kind of silly, because they're generating about 1,000 casualties a week off of those offensives.
Yeah.
So it's a bloody operation for them.
Very much so. Dave, what do you think?
Oh, I mean, it feels a bit like we're going in a cycle, just how things just repeat. And I feel like we've been here before, not in a deja vu way, but in a, it's now back again in winter. And I'm just thinking, especially if Starsky thinks it might get to 2025, I'm thinking maybe even longer, and maybe, we're just going to keep doing these streams and keep milking it for content, like and subscribe. But it certainly, it feels like there's a lack of new things happening, and I guess it'd be interesting to see as this develops what new tactics or decisions, or if somebody starts to run out of the willingness or resources to continue. It now feels like a war of attrition, and who's going to just stay in the longest. And if I put money on it, that would be Ukraine, because it's their homeland, right? They're not going to give up, are they? But yeah, we'll see.
It's an existential conflict for them. For the Russians, it's imperialistic. There's the difference.
Yeah, good way to say.
Maybe they'll get distracted by something else.
Hopefully, somebody get a laser pointer and point it at Moscow. Dunk, what do you think, man? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Dave's complaining that the war isn't getting spicy enough. I say it's just the right kind of spicy, because the Russians are being pushed back slowly, but they are getting pushed back. Ukraine is actually starting to retake ground. They got eyes on Crimea. It's all going to go in favour for Ukraine in the end. Yeah, I don't think we should wish too much action in the war, because if Russia decides to do something interesting, it's going to be bad for everybody in the world. So, and I'm glad that that situation has not come up yet.
Oh God,
it might not come up. Yeah. So let's just let him do it slowly. Yeah. Slowly, cheeky monkey, and they'll win. They'll push them back, and we can keep on doing these streams so long as Starsky is here to shout out.
Exactly.
So,
and a big shout out to Starsky, brother. We'll see you this week coming when your internet's all sorted and everything. Take care over there. And, as he always says, stay safe. I want to reiterate now, you've got to stay on your local, regional, and national governments to ensure that they are supporting Ukraine and are continuing to support Ukraine. These people are elected by us, and if enough of us are constantly at their throats all the time telling them to do it, how are they going to say otherwise? Keep it up and make your voice heard. A big thanks to everybody who contributes around here with the super chats and donations and members and all that kind of stuff. It's amazing for us. We love it. We love it very much. You guys are the best. Who we got on the team here today? We got Catalin T running the Shills account for us today. Big shout there, Catalin. Thank you. We got BME, Shayna Caldwell. Who else is I'm supposed to be shouting out here? I'm scrolling through right now to get the names right, and I'm stalling as I do it. I know I've screwed up. Oh, the Kraut's got a wrench in. Awesome. And I don't know. If I missed you and you damn well know you should have been shouted at, well, just know that I feel horrible for not doing it. Is that fair? Is that all right? We love you, everybody. Thanks, and see you soon. Remember, Slava Ukraini, and keep your voice heard in the support for Ukraine. Let's say goodnight, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
See you soon.
It's over. Go home. Go.